we agreed that uh, we would not let, you might find this very harsh, but we agreed that we would not let our children be hooked to watching TV every day, playing video
Mm.
games. Okay. So what we did was we spent a lot for books. Okay. Um, every weekend, our uh, activity would always be first, at that time, there was no power books yet. So
Mhm.
we went to National
National
Bookstore.
Bookstore.
Yes. And in the kids section of National Bookstore, you are actually allowed to sit down on the floor and read some
Yes.
open books, right? And then
Yes.
when Power Books was there and then Fully Booked, every weekend we would really go to Power Books or Fully Booked. And uh, we will spend at least 2 hours. My daughters would just sit there, grab a book, and read. And uh, we didn't watch TV, so there was a TV set at home, but there was no cable. We just had a VHS player,
Uh-huh.
and we would play some very specific Disney movies
Okay.
or educational movies on the weekends.
Okay.
During the weekdays, what did they do? Um, I encourage them to read what they have. So on weekends, they read books at the bookstore, but I
Mhm.
also give them a budget for
Mhm.
each weekend. Okay, I give you 500 pesos. Um, you can buy a book that you want to bring home and read at home. So,
Okay.
so they
So
have
it's
something.
limited to books lang. Talaga you can't buy uh other
No,
things
just
except
books.
books. But
Just books.
activity books are also okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
As long as it's a
yeah,
book.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And um, we did a lot of games. We would play Scrabble. We would, as a
Okay,
family,
okay.
we would play Scrabble. We would play Monopoly.
Mm.
Um, so that was how we did it, and we would play once a week videos. So we were even my husband and I did not watch TV. You know for how long?
Ah.
Until my eldest daughter became 12 years old.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to season 14, episode 4 of The Leader's Edge. My name is Sylvia Goloyugo, and I'm your host for this afternoon. Our guest is joining us today is a very special guest who is very well known in the manufacturing industry. She is the senior vice president of the leading car manufacturing company in the country, that is Toyota Motors Philippines. And in 2022, she was appointed as the president and CEO of Toyota Mobility Solutions Philippines. However, she is going to join us, but she's going to wear a different hat. She is a mother of two wonderful daughters who are equally accomplished. One is a resident at the dermatology department of PGH, and the second one is about to take her board exam in medicine in a few months. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the virtual stage, Miss Cristina Fe Tini Arevalo.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, Miss Tini.
Thank you so much for having me here.
We have a very interesting topic. Our topic is You're going to share your insights, your tips based on your experience on how to raise well balanced but high achieving children. So, I am wondering what motivated you to share this topic?
I've been with Toyota Motor Philippines for 33 years now.
Wow.
And I actually started my career in TMP. We call Toyota Motor Philippines TMP for short.
Mm,
And I started my career in HRD. So I have been able to witness the changes in the qualities and characteristics of the workforce
mm,
from the 1990s to the present. And I saw some big change. Um, the new workforce, I would say, is highly intelligent, very smart, very quick to do things. They're very tech savvy. So
mm,
because they're quick to do things, their productivity is very high.
mm.
However, I saw that there seems to be some fundamental traits that have been compromised because of perhaps the use of too much technology.
Like
Like,
what, what traits?
well, I noticed that attention span of the younger ones has
Ah,
sort of shortened compared
okay.
to maybe our generation.
Mhm,
Um, because attention span is shorter, the focus is also, quite limited. So they can focus on one thing for a short time, but then they have to switch to another thing after several hours or days.
mhm.
Um, the virtue of patience also, I guess, has been compromised,
Ah,
because when you're used to be in the past, when we did research, we had to go to the library on foot and look
yeah.
for books in the shelves and turn pages to look for the topic that we want to study, right? But
Mhm,
now,
mhm.
with a click of the keyboard, you can easily get information on what you want to research on, almost
That's true.
instantaneous.
That's
And
true.
even at home, like before, if you want to eat something, you have to prepare the pan, you have to prepare ingredients, and then you cook. It takes you around 30 minutes to prepare your meal. But now you can just get something frozen from the ref, put it in the microwave, and in a minute, you already have your meal. So the technology has done a lot of good things for us, probably made life easier for us, but there are some compromises that happened in developing some fundamental traits. So that's why I said maybe patience, a bit shorter,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
communication style as well is very
Ah,
different. Yeah,
okay.
communication
Can you
style.
compare the communication style, for example, Gen Xers and like millennials?
Well,
Because when they
yeah,
communicate in the in the work, uh, in at work, kaya may miscommunication because there are different communication styles.
yes, they're they're very direct to the point. Um,
Ah,
the I would say our generation. I'm a Gen X also,
mhm.
so we always start with some backgrounder first. Try to sandwich. You give some explanation first for background, and then give your point in the middle, and then close it up with something that would surely make the communication end smoothly,
Mhm,
especially
mhm.
if you're giving a bit of a negative message in the middle.
Yes.
So we're kind of careful to end the conversation in a positive note still.
Yes,
But
yes.
with the new workforce, they're really more direct to the point that you sometimes you'd get just odd that this person told me this to my face. So but to them it's nothing. It's natural, and I think that's how they've become through the years, even in school
Mhm.
and probably when they talk with friends and even
Yes.
at home, because parents now are more busy. Both mother and father are always busy. So perhaps interaction, the quality of interaction is not the same.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think those are the circumstances that affected the change in the traits of the
Ah,
new workforce, the young ones.
I see.
Yeah,
So having the Department of Education recently reintroduced GMRC, good morals and right conduct in basic education. So I think that's a good step in the right direction in terms
yes,
of maybe answering some of these observations that you have about lack of
correct.
patience, communication style, and
Yeah, yeah. Even
focus.
even just plainly organizing things,
Yes.
and cleaning up, meaning cleaning up
Oh, yeah.
your desk after a work is done. I mean, I think the new workforce now got used to. But I'm speaking about those perhaps coming from more affluent families or
Mhm.
even middle income families. Perhaps many of our new workforce they got used to somebody picking up after,
Ah, I
right?
see. Okay.
So
So it's like it's a reflection of their own discipline at home. If your
yes.
bedroom is a mess, most probably your work table or your workstation is also a mess at the end of the day.
Yeah, yeah, like leaving coffee cups. They like going to Starbucks in the morning before they come to work, and
Mhm.
then they just leave their cup on the desk until the end of the
Mhm.
day and wait for the janitor to pick it up. So,
Small things, right?
yeah,
Small
small things,
things.
small
It's
things.
but it's a reflection of a certain way of life.
Yes, certain way of life, maybe, and also because they like to do things very quickly, so they get
Mhm.
engrossed with okay, doing something now. Okay, I forgot I have a coffee cup there. So that's so the shift of attention is very fast.
So multitasking it has its pros and cons
Yes,
because a lot of people are used to multitasking and they forget that there are things that are left behind when you multitask.
correct, correct.
So let us talk about how you raised your daughters because I am very curious about your formula. How were you able to maintain a high powered corporate life and
Mm.
yet have a very stable and well balanced family life? You were able to raise your children well. And
Yeah,
these are things that I know Filipino parents struggle with, especially with the those who have children who are at school now. Discipline and communication is always an issue. So I know that our viewers will learn from your experience because it is tried and tested.
yes, yes. Well,
So,
um, I won't take full credit for it.
mm,
This is a partnership with my husband
yeah,
and some support from my parents and his parents in
mm,
our early stages of marriage. But the first is early mind setting. Okay,
okay,
how did I do it? Um, During my pregnancy, okay, for both pregnancies. So during my pregnancy, um, I would play a recorded message to my
wow,
child in my womb. I start at 5 months of pregnancy, every night. Okay, coming from work before we sleep, I would play my recording of my message, and then play a recording also of my husband's message to my child.
okay.
The recording included sort of expectation setting. It's like
Okay.
You will be a very good, respectful, smart baby. You will be a um, highly successful child. All positive expectations. I started communicating to my baby from my womb at five
Wow.
months.
Five
Like,
months. So every day for 4 months, do you
yes,
say the same message or do you have a different
it's
message?
the same. It's a recording that I made. So I play it. So I use an earphone and I put it on my tummy and
Ah,
I
okay.
and I let the baby hear it. And then I play the Brahms lullaby after.
Mm.
They say
Ah,
that um, um, play classical music to make your baby smarter because the brain synapses react more. And but I chose the Brahms because it's more calm
mhm.
than the
Ah,
other classical music. So
okay. That's interesting.
yes, so every day I did that. Why 5 months? Because it's on the fifth month. That's what I learned before. That it was on the fifth month that the hearings, the sense of hearing is developed.
I see. I see.
So, so that's when we started at 5 months.
Okay.
Yeah, and after that, my second technique is, I'd say, books, not gadgets. Okay.
Ah, okay.
Um, I I know there there used to be like a fad of children being given uh video games, PSPs, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
A lot of video games actually, but my husband and I never got into that
Ah,
bandwagon.
amazing.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Um, we agreed that uh we would not let. You might find this very harsh, but we agreed that we would not let our children be hooked to watching TV every day, playing video
Mm.
games. Okay. So what we did was we spent a lot for books. Okay. Um, every weekend, our uh, activity would always be first. At that time, there was no power books yet. So
Mhm.
we went to National
National
Bookstore.
Bookstore.
Yes. And in the kids section of National Bookstore, you are actually allowed to sit down on the floor and read some
Yes.
open books, right? And then
Yes.
when Power Books was there and then Fully Booked, every weekend we would really go to Power Books or Fully Booked. And uh, we will spend at least 2 hours.
Mm.
My daughters would just sit there, grab a book, and read. And uh, we didn't watch TV, so there was a TV set at home, but there was no cable. We just
Ah,
had a VHS player,
uh-huh.
and we would play some very specific Disney movies
Okay.
or educational movies on the weekends.
Okay.
During the weekdays, what did they do? Um, I encourage them to read what they have. So on weekends, they read books at the bookstore, but I
Mm-hmm.
also give them a budget for
Mm-hmm.
each weekend. Okay, I give you 500 pesos. Um, you can buy a book that you want to bring home and read at home.
Mm,
So,
okay.
so they
So
have
it's
something.
limited to books lang. Talaga you can't buy uh other
No,
things
just
except
books.
books. But
Just books.
activity books are also okay.
Yeah,
Ah, okay.
yeah,
As long as it's a
yeah,
book.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
and we did a lot of games. We would play
Ah,
Scrabble. We would, as a family,
okay.
we would play Scrabble. We would play Monopoly.
Mm.
Um, so that was how we did it. And we would play once a week videos. So we were, even my husband and I did not watch TV. You know, for how long?
Ah,
Until my eldest daughter became 12 years old. So my
talaga?
eldest was 12 and my youngest was 10.
Hmm.
That was when we said, okay, their habits have been well formed.
Ah,
Okay,
okay.
so their habits have been well formed, and they're very disciplined even in uh, allocating time for studies. So then we already had a cable installed at home. But you know what? They didn't watch TV. They became
Oh,
book lovers. They became uh, book lovers. They could, you know, read like a Harry Potter uh, book
ah,
in 3 hours.
wow,
So
galing.
yeah, at first
Teka,
I
hold
said,
on a sec. So
"Hmm,
where do they get their current events or news? Because sometimes there are subjects in school where you have to discuss current events.
we
So where
listen
do
to the
they?
radio.
Ah, I see.
We subscribe to Time Magazine,
Mm-hmm.
Fortune Magazine, and then uh, every night my husband and I would listen to the radio for news.
I see.
No
I
TV.
see. No TV talaga.
No TV.
Amazing. You are a
Yes.
radical parent.
Yes, and we really sacrifice as a family. But
Yes.
our, yeah, I think our children enjoyed the reading part. So I have at home, I have an entire wall, uh, floor to ceiling bookshelves filled with books. It's their collection.
Amazing.
Yes. So, yeah, that was how we did it. So a love for reading, not gadgets. So I never had to buy PSPs or
So how do they interact with their friends or their classmates since they have a very different way of spending their free time? Do they ask their friends over to your
Hmm.
house, or do you allow them to go out to their
Fortunately,
friends?
we lived in a townhouse. So the townhouse is just a 40-unit townhouse. So it's
Mm-hmm.
just a big circle. So
Mm-hmm.
they play outside. They do biking.
Ah,
They
all
do
right.
normal children's games,
All right.
physical games.
Physical games.
Yes,
So they
yes,
have friends from the neighborhood, just like everyone else.
yes. In school, their friends, they communicated just, I think, during recess, and because at the end of the class, they have to go to the school bus already. And once they ride the
Wow.
school bus, that's it. They sometimes go to sleep. So,
So how did this change when they reached college? That's an entirely different environment.
mm, well, well, I think they were able to adapt quite quickly because when they reached college, there was a lot of
Reading.
book reading, especially
Yes.
they entered the medical field.
Yes.
So I think they quite smoothly adjusted.
Mhm.
Yeah, which leads to my third point, independent learning. Um, Independent learning, how did I do it? At the age of 3, I enrolled for both my daughters. When they turned 3, I enrolled them in Kumon,
Ah,
Kumon
okay.
Math and Kumon Reading. Uh, I I let them do Kumon Reading until they entered kindergarten.
Okay.
So just for 2 years.
Mhm.
I just wanted them to learn how to read, you know, how to compose, how to comprehend and
Mhm.
analyze a paragraph.
So
So
this jump started their love for reading. So when they entered formal school, they already knew how to.
yes, so they
Ah,
were reading at the age of 3, and
amazing.
uh, and then when they reached kindergarten, I already stopped common reading, but they
Mhm.
continued common math
Ah, okay.
until they graduated high school.
Ah, okay.
Yes, my my way of thinking then was okay. I was trying to manage my weakness. Okay, so both me and my husband were very busy. We're both from Toyota.
Mhm.
Okay, so I can already project um how our workload would be in the
Mhm.
future. Secondly, um, I'm not very good in math. My husband is.
Mhm.
Okay. My strength would be in English
Mhm.
communication. So, however, although my husband is very good in math because he's an engineer, um, I knew that he wouldn't have the time to really, teach and guide our children because
Mhm.
he would be busy at work. So, projecting that possibility, we decided, okay, let's enroll them in Kumon because Kumon develops early discipline in
Mhm.
learning, and it gives you an early dose of feeling of success because each day that you finish a worksheet, that's already success for you. Each day it because in Kumon there's no holiday.
Oh,
You have
really?
yeah, yeah. If we
Okay.
have 365 days in a year, for 365 days, you have a set of worksheets to finish and submit.
Wow.
So
Okay.
every day you get to finish a set of worksheets. You get graded and you see your grade. And when your grade is very good, that's already a dose of success for you, right? Mini,
Yes.
mini
Yes.
milestones.
Yes.
So at a very young age, they develop the discipline of doing repetitive tasks to master something. Okay. And knowing the feeling of success at a very early age. So at when they reach grade 2, I didn't help them anymore with any of their assignments.
Ah,
They were doing all
okay.
their assignments by themselves until they graduated.
So when they come home from school, automatic they'll do their
They'll do their
assignments
assignments.
and then have dinner and then sleep na.
Yes, they don't disturb us
Ah.
anymore. And when the subjects in math were very complex, yeah, even in high school, they already had calculus. They could do it by themselves because they mastered common. They had common math. So
Oh.
um, at first, when I enrolled my kids in common at the age of 3, I remember my mom was criticizing me. She was scolding me. Sabi niya, grabe ka, masyado kang sadista. Yeah. Yeah. Sabi ko,
Because
hindi. Sabi ko,
you have a totally different upbringing.
perspective.
No,
Yes.
upbringing.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah,
you
yeah.
really deviated from the style of your mom
Parents.
and your
Yes. Yes.
mother-in-law's styles.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And I stuck
Okay.
to my perspective that, this is uh this is probably maybe for us, we find it um too much. But maybe for the kid, I mean, attending 1 hour of common class, just doing a worksheet, learning something, mastering something, maybe it's not really that bad, right? It's a
Especially if
matter
you're
of
used,
perspective. Yeah,
yes, and when you're used to it. If you love to study, That's actually like playing an extra hour.
Yeah, yeah. It's like doing Sudoku every day, right? Yeah.
Yes,
Sometimes you
yes.
have a booklet of Sudoku and you want to do many pages. It's common. It's just like that. You can set how many pages of worksheets you want as a set. That's it. So the
So,
independent learning um, kicked in quite early.
and it was because it was jump started by a discipline that was developed through
Yes, at the age of
home.
3. So develop the discipline very early stage in life, and let them appreciate the value of doing something repeatedly until you master something, and have the patience to, do something repeatedly. And it also enhance their focus.
Wow. So I imagine they must be the top of their class every year because
And
they have such discipline and they love to study because they are used to it. It's no
yes,
longer it's no longer a chore or maybe
yeah. And there's not
uh
much distraction. The only distraction they have is reading books.
okay.
That's their way of relaxation. The way they relax is by reading a
Oh,
nice book.
galing naman. Do you
Yeah.
have pets at home? Do you have like
We
extended
don't.
family members? So that's also a key ingredient. There are
Yeah.
no distractions. No
Yeah.
additional distractions at home.
Yes. Yes.
Mm.
So even when in our first years of marriage, we lived first my husband's parents, and then when I had my second baby, we moved to my parents' house.
Mhm.
But when my uh daughter turned 3, we moved to our own place and had our own yaya. So even our yaya had to sacrifice no TV.
Oh my.
Just listen to the radio, and
Yes.
she got used to it.
And there are ways. Maybe she can use a headset if she wanted to do an extra hour of listening to the radio after the kids are in
Yeah.
bed.
Yeah.
Separate social life.
Yeah. And I enrolled her in I invested in a training course for yayas. It's called I Love You Yaya.
Oh, there's such
Oo.
a thing?
Yeah, it was
Wow.
conducted by the doctor's sister of Anthony Pangilinan.
Ah, I
Uh,
see.
I just forgot her name, but the doctor's sister of Anthony
The
Pangilinan.
doctor
So
sister.
they taught about um parang emergency response. What would you do? Parang
For
first aid. Oh,
emergencies.
what would you
Oh.
do if this
Oh,
happened
okay,
to your alaga?
that is important. That's actually an
Yes.
essential.
Yes. And then they also taught the yayas that, okay, don't give too many toys to the child all at once. Give one only because you're trying to teach
Galing.
focus. So yun, so
Ah,
you know, at least na-motivate siya. Oh, I have a mission. Parang, 'di ba?
correct,
I have a
correct.
mission. So I sent her to that training.
Grabe, ano?
Yeah. Yeah.
How did you learn about this training? Did somebody recommend it to you? Did you do your
Yes.
own research?
No, somebody the sister, my sister-in-law recommended it because she knew somebody from the circle of friends of the Pangilinans, and she said that they're conducting this weekend training. It's a 2-day training for yayas. So I said, oh, I'm interested in that. So
So
yeah,
this is an ongoing program. They've been doing this for a while.
I don't know if they're
Bef-
still doing it, but
ah,
my kids were very young at that time, so I'm not sure if they're still doing it. Maybe not
ah.
anymore. Yeah.
I hope somebody picks it up
Yeah.
because I think that is an essential.
Mm-mm.
I
It's
think that's
very
it's
helpful. It
yes.
also gives me and my husband more confidence to leave my children with our yaya during the
Yes.
day.
Mm-hmm. You have
Yeah.
more peace of mind that she will be capable.
Mm-mm.
She has the right skills, whatever
Yes.
happens.
Yes.
Okay. So what's the third tip?
Well, that's the
Fourth,
third. So the fourth tip is adult talk. Okay.
adult talk.
Even as kids, we don't, well, we started talking to them as if they were adults.
So
Um,
no baby talk.
we didn't
Y-
do baby talk. We
okay.
didn't do baby talk. Yeah, even ano, 'di ba, many young toddlers, lalo when they're outside in commercial centers, churches, minsan may nagtatantrums, 'di ba? Tapos
Yes.
iyak, magwawala doon, tapos
Yes.
naglulupasay na, 'di ba?
Yes.
Um, kami, I guess we were able to develop a good sensing of each other's body language at an early age. Kahit toddlers pa sila. We, pag medyo nag, at the verge of doing tantrums na, I would just stare at them with big eyes. And then, tataas yung kilay ko. Pag gumanon na yung mata ko at kilay ko, alam na nila na magagalit ako. Huwag niya ituloy yung pagtatantrums niya in public.
So you are the disciplinarian in the family.
Pareho kami. Pareho.
Okay.
Pareho. Minsan, may good cop, bad cop game din kami ng husband ko. Pero pareho kaming disciplinarian. Depende kung sino yung nakakahuli na
I
nagtantrum. So,
see.
siya yung bad cop. Tapos sa'yo tatakbo, di ba? Pero pag, pagkatapos nun, you talk to them like, as an adult, what do you want?
Mhm.
What's wrong? Yung ganon. So, parang
Okay.
let them express. You let them express what they want. Why are they about to do tantrums? Communicate.
It's
So,
amazing that nakukuha pa sila sa tingin at a
yes,
younger
yon.
age,
Makuha
because
ka
I
sa
think
tingin, correct.
that is something that is severely lacking among children nowadays. I mean,
Correct.
I'm a youth worker in our community, in our church, and um that is the primary, one of the main things that parents have shared, that sometimes they have difficulty controlling their children's tantrums. Nothing works anymore, they said. Nothing works anymore. They tried everything
Yeah,
around. So I said, um, we are blessed if we grew up in a family environment where at an early age your mom or your either one of your parents have taught you how to recognize the signs na don't go there, and then they
yes,
will just
yes,
stop.
yes. I think the reason na ganun ngayon yung mga bata is because of the distractions na. Kasi, di ba,
Mm-hmm.
notice it. When you see parents outside, in the mall or in church, anong baon nila? Cellphone.
Mm-hmm.
Tapos,
Yes, yes.
pagka gusto nang magwala ng anak nila, to pacify the child, ang
They
ibibigay nila, cellphone. O manood
cellphone.
ka, mag-games ka. Laging
Correct.
ganon. So,
Correct.
the kids now are always stuck to the monitor.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
to develop sensitivity to body language, you have to be focused on people, not on gadgets, not on monitors. And that's what's lacking now. Yan yung parang we created our own problem eh.
So
Diba?
so does this mean that when your kids were growing up, they never had gadgets, not even cell phones?
No.
Ah, okay. Okay, viewers, listen to that. That is radical parenting, but it will really change the way uh, kids learn discipline and focus.
Yeah,
Ano naman eh, it's age-based. You can say that, okay, from this age to this age, no cell phones, no tablet.
correct. Nung college, we had to give them cell phones na kasi they had to live far away from us. They had to separate. They lived in Manila because they were going to UP. So malayo masyado sa bahay namin. Then we had to give them cell phones.
It's a necessity. It was a necessity
Yes. But even at
then.
that time, na-develop na yung discipline nila eh. And
Mhm.
ano na sila, they've developed the sensitivities that they need.
So does that mean that even in college, when they were surrounded by people who were more worldly because they were attuned to everything and anything. They had gadgets, they had
Mhm.
tablets, they had laptops. Did they have a hard time or an easy time adjusting? Um, since it's medicine, they were always reading, but
Yeah,
uh, socially, on the social side, did they have any adjustments? Did they share any
wala
adjustments that
naman.
they had?
Wala. Kasi I guess with their classmates, parang konting-konti lang yung gano'n na medyo affluent talaga na enjoyed a lot of perks and privileges at home. Mas marami yung coming from the provinces, very simple living. Mas marami silang gano'n sa class. So, parang wala. Mm.
What what a way to parang show people na pwede. I
Yeah.
am glad that you are sharing this because it's really a radical way of raising kids and pwede. It is
Oo,
doable and
it is.
look at the quality of the children that are born and raised using very strict
Very
but
basic. Very
actually
basic.
it's going back to basics because you don't need the gadgets, you don't need the connectivity 20. It's something that we always take for granted
Yeah.
na you have to be online. We don't have to be online all the time
No.
and you don't have to
Yeah,
check your mobile phones all the time.
correct.
i'm I think I am part of, because I'm a Gen Xer. I'm not glued to my phone. Sometimes I will check it regularly, siguro like 4 times a day. It's with me, but it's not outside next to me, next to my table.
Yeah,
It's in a place where I know I keep my mobile phone, so that when I lose it, I know I just my the place for mobile phones is on this table.
yeah, yeah.
We have that at home.
Mm-mm.
If you need to leave your keys, leave your mobile phones, leave the important things, you use this table so that when it gets lost, you just have to start looking
Yeah,
at that place.
yeah, that's right.
So
And
adult talk.
yeah,
How about
another
the
another
lolos and lolas? Did they do adult talk?
yeah, kasi syempre they follow our lead eh. Hindi rin sila nagbe-baby talk.
So they are
Yeah.
very supportive of your
Oh
style,
yes.
parenting style.
Yeah,
Did they
yeah
have a
they
hard
are.
time getting used to it, or maybe
Hindi kasi they didn't live with us eh. Kasi we
that's
started that style na walang TV nung bumukod na kami.
I see. I
Oo.
see.
So, buti maaga pa, bata pa sila. Pero syempre, when we were living with them, syempre may TV sila sa common living room, 'di ba? So, pag nanonood, syempre, mommy ko, daddy ko, dapat parang dali-dali ma-access ng mga bata. No? Nakikinood din sila. So,
Correct.
buti na lang, medyo bata pa sila when we started on our own na.
So do you recommend that newlyweds really start living separately so that they
Not
can
immediately. Actually,
uh,
when my staff get married, I always nape-pressure sila about wala pa kaming pera, wala akong pambiling bahay. Kaya sabi ko, don't pressure yourself into getting a house right away when you get married kasi there's always a benefit of living first with your parents, especially in the beginning. You're both adjusting, and
Mhm.
then pag lalo na when you have your first baby, even though makakakuha ka ng yaya, iba pa
Mhm.
rin yung may supervision ng family member mo.
Yeah, that's
Um,
true.
you will always be anxious while you're at work kasi iniwan mo yung baby mo sa stranger. Kahit sabihin mo
Mhm.
pa, "'Di kilala ko siya." How many years mo siyang kilala, 'di ba?
Yes.
Iba pa rin yung at least nandun yung, mga lolo, lola or tito, tita na nakiki-supervise dun sa mga anak mo.
So that's the major advantage of
Yeah,
staying with your family in
yeah,
the
at least in
earlier
the
years.
beginning, 'di ba? At least in the beginning, and then yeah. Yeah, you know what? We got our house, which is 5 minutes away from my parents' house.
Ah,
Kaya,
galing!
kaya pag,
It's amazing that you found a house near to your parents'
yeah,
house.
we did. We looked for a development that was very near my parents' house. So, pag may emergency, hindi kami masyadong nagpapanik kasi malapit lang ang bahay ng parents ko. They can easily drive by. Yan. You
I
know,
think that's a
another,
that's a good advice for for couples who plan to get married. There are people who will purposely live away, far away from their in-laws because they want to live independently immediately. However,
yeah,
I guess it all depends on the relationship you have with your
that's true.
parents, your
That's true.
in-laws.
Oo, that's true. You know, another thing that I did in terms of talking to them like adults. When they were still in grade school, I asked them to do something. I asked them to do a paper. In Toyota kasi, meron kaming business practice. We call it A3 writing.
A3
Me
writing.
A3 writing, as
Uh-huh.
in you write a report using one page of an A3 paper. You
Ah,
put
okay.
everything there, the background, your current situation, what is your proposal, how do you plan to achieve it, and what's your timetable. Ganon siya.
Mm, mm.
I taught that to my kids when they were in elementary school. And sabi ko, I, you think about what you want to become when you grow up.
Mm,
What do you
okay.
want to achieve when you grow up? And so you write it down. So I thought I gave them a template and then I asked them to write down what they
How
plan.
young were they? How young
Elementary
were
pa
they?
lang siguro mga 11, mga ganun.
Oh, okay. So they have a
So,
clear sense now of what they wanted to be.
yes, yeah, I was trying to teach them kasi to plan their lives.
At elementary,
Yes,
amazing, mom. Talaga,
kasi
while others were busy, playing with their dolls and thinking about
oo,
what to do during summer, ikaw, you
yeah,
were already uh, teaching them how to plan or visualize their future at a young
yes.
age.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah. You know, even when they were selecting their course,
Mhm.
it was a it was a long discussion in the family kasi
Ah,
ano parang they were doing well kasi in school talaga. So parang 'pag tinanong, 'di ba usually you get into a course where depending on the subject you're good at.
yes.
Yeah. Fortunately for them, for both of them, magaganda yung grades nila in all subjects except Filipino.
Okay.
So so parang nag-ano sila, parang nagre-reflect sila. How will you choose what to do? So
Mhm.
parang ang naging first process of elimination na ginawa nila is sinabi nila, ayaw namin ng pareho nyo na you're in the office every day.
Okay.
Kasi
Okay.
kasi there were a lot of mga schools kasi ngayon, 'di ba, ang dami-dami nilang activities na involved ang parents.
Mm-hmm.
And there were many occasions na di kami pwede makapunta.
All
So
right.
we would normally ask our parents, yung mga lolo, lola nila, to cover for us. So nare-remember nila yon.
Ah,
So parang sabi nila, parang masyadong, from their perspective, parang very limiting pala pag nasa office ka kasi you don't own your time. And,
okay.
it's not true that the higher you go, the more time you have. Baligtad. The higher you
Yes.
go, the less time you have for yourself.
Yes. So sa corporate.
So, oo. So, ang ano nila, ay, we don't want to be in corporate. So, that's the first
Mhm.
ano nila, reflection. So, process of elimination. So, sabi nila, we want to be somebody na medyo we can manage our own time. We
All
can
right.
dictate our time.
Okay.
Until they ended up choosing to become a doctor, not realizing na you become your own boss only after several years pa.
Yes.
Siguro,
Eventually.
eventually, yes. Pero
Yes.
medyo may edad na sila by that time.
Were
Yeah,
they were you surprised that they both want to venture into the medical
medicine.
field?
Ah,
Or you saw it coming because they have the same
no,
interest?
we I was surprised that my youngest also wanted to become a doctor.
Mhm.
Pero I always saw them as ano kasi they would very close sila, they're best friends eh.
Ah, I
They're
see.
best friends. So I guess uh the
May
ate
factor,
the
no?
ate was really a good role model for my youngest. So I guess may ganun. And they
Ah,
enjoy being with each other until now.
is it the same specialization or different?
No, yun naman
No,
magkaiba.
at least
But they're both
UP.
in UP, they're both in PGH. So,
Mhm.
mm,
So the adult talk served them well.
yes,
They
yes,
became mature thinkers
that's
because
right.
you did adult talk early.
Yeah, yeah. They made their decisions. We just
Mhm.
guided them. Yeah.
Okay. And what is our
The last
last?
one, the last
Yes,
technique is it's a mom and dad team.
mom and dad team.
Yes.
What does that
Both
mean?
both parents have to be fully involved. In many families, what I see is mas involve yung mom kesa sa dad
Yes, yes,
in many things like guiding in assignments, pag may project,
mhm,
laging si mommy, di ba?
yes, yes, yes.
Ah, yung sa amin, I think what worked well was tulong-tulong kami. It's always mom and dad, pareho kaming involved. And I think parang mas naging strong yung um, pagiging yung development ng mga bata when they saw that both mom and dad are involved in everything that they do, from academics to sports to extracurricular activities. We were always together.
So how did you do it? I mean, as a couple, did you have like a weekly parang like a
Every
parang
weekend,
may date kayo para you can talk about the children para when you go to the activities or when you become involved in their activities parang you're all in the same page. So do you have a
yeah,
separate session na kayong dalawa lang na kayo nag-uusap?
we would
Ganun?
normally do we would do Friday night grocery shopping. And then
Mhm.
after grocery shopping, kakain kami. So during that dinner,
Ah,
yun na yun, planning for what to do Saturday, Sunday. But Saturday,
nice.
Sunday is always family time.
So at least having like me time with your husband every Friday that allowed you
Yes.
better plan and better talk about things that are happening in the family domestically.
Yes,
So
yes.
kailangan may ganon. You have to set aside a schedule na for practicality, talagang tama nga yun, ano, you sabay mo na sa grocery and dinner. At least it's like a date. You have a Friday
Correct,
night date.
correct. Ganun nga. Kasi
Oh,
you have to be
viewers.
aligned eh. You have to be
Be
aligned. Hindi kasi puwedeng, nagkokontrahan kayo, 'di
correct.
ba?
So
It
it will appear to the children that you already know, you both know about it, you both discussed it na. So when you discuss it with them, wala nang wala nang ano, between the two of you, wala nang discussion. There's
yeah.
no discussion because you're in the same page.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So
Mm.
what are the things that, because I think because of your relationship with your employees, I'm sure they have asked you to be their ninang in their
Oh, yeah.
weddings. And what kind of advice do you give them?
In raising kids,
Yes.
I actually tell them about what I did when I was pregnant. And I
Ah,
also advise them about if they can still live with their parents or close to their parents, at least for the first few years of their marriage. I always encourage it because may merit talaga. Hindi mo kailangan magmadaling umalis sa poder ng parents mo.
so that
Kasi,
means even before getting married, in the relationship stage, couples should go out of their way to have a good relationship with their future in-laws. I think that
yeah,
is one thing that I am getting from your insights,
yes.
that it is true that the first few years of marriage, especially when you have your first baby, is really the most challenging because there are so many adjustments, and the love and support of a family member is something that is much needed. So um I actually appreciate couples who have very very strong bonds with their future in-laws, because I remember in the past, and I think this is a generation thing, my mom would always tell us that all of my uncles, even my dad, would woo my lola and lolo. They would start the courtship with my lola and lolo even before
Mm.
taking my mom and my aunts out. So para good sila sa parents, and
Yeah.
they visit them often so that they are able to talk, and they have a lot of opportunities to know the manliligaw personally. So by the time
Mm.
that they're in a relationship, they are so well accepted by my grandparents. It was easy for them to ask favors. Can they take us in during times na they are both working? So they were our yayas and
Mm.
yayos. And
Yeah,
we actually enjoyed our time, spending time with our grandparents, kasi it was also bonding time
yeah,
for them, and that's equally important. So
yeah,
viewers, the grandparents, your future in-laws are very important.
yeah.
If you have a wonderful relationship with the family that you are entering into, it will make your family life smoother and easier. Take it from Miss Tini. Don't be in a hurry to to live independently.
Yes. There's a right time.
There's a right. So what? How do you know that time based on your experience? How do you know that it's the right time
Ah,
to live independently?
medyo toddlers na yung marunong na magsumbong yung anak mo. So if anything goes wrong na sila lang ng yaya yung nandun, you would be able to know that something happened.
Mm, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. I I am I'm not married, but I work with kids and their parents. And
Ah,
this is something that I will share with the parents. We were able to cover 5 tips from our resource person, Miss Tini. And I think this is something that is really worth trying, especially for those who have children who are aged 3. Ah, you started as early as 5 months.
oh
If
yeah,
you
yeah.
are pregnant, our listeners, if you are pregnant, 5 months, you try Miss Teeny's recommendation. You record your messages, and you use Brahms lullaby every day at night before you sleep. You play your message and then your husband's message, and you do it
Yes.
for 4 months, 5 months to 9 months, until you give. You just try it and see the big difference. If you're wondering what kind of messages, affirmations, like tell them what you would like them to be when they grow up. You are kind, you are a very patient baby, you will do well in school, you will achieve your dreams, all of those things that you would like them to have and to be. Of course, we would like to raise children who are well balanced, who are kind, who are able to achieve both in their school and professionally. I always say it takes a village to raise a child. In this case, it was the support of the entire family, the yaya, the lolos, the grandparents, and even the titos and titas, because this is such a radical way of raising kids. You need that kind of support. You need people who understand why this is the kind of direction you would like to take for your children. I always believe that it takes a village to raise a child. In this case, Tini's formula for raising children who are high achievers really takes a special kind of support from the family and from the the school environment. When you are going to introduce, if you want to try some of the tips that Tini recommends, I would like to suggest that you get all of the family members involved so that they will support your decision or this decision to raise your kids in a more radical way. For people, they would say, why do you need to be radical? Let's just do it the way everyone does. But just remember, it's when you are in the workplace, when they apply for work, they have to be different from everyone else. So the way they can be different is to start them young and do everything you can as parents to make sure that they are prepared, not just academically, but also emotionally and mentally for the big world out there. Miss Tini, would you like to share like a parting message? If there's a message that you would like to leave our viewers about your unique way, unique but very successful way of
Mhm.
raising your daughters. You only have to look at her daughters to see that it may have been radical at the time she did it, but it is very successful.
Yeah. Yeah. In hindsight, you'd say, ah, yeah, it was effective, right?
Yes.
Well, I think I'd like to say that um, parenting is a special mission for us. And we always have to bear in mind that as responsible parents, we need to ensure that our children would become positive contributors to society and allow them to make a difference. So, by it doesn't hurt to be different in the way you raise your kids as long as it is serving the purpose.
Thank you, Tini. So, viewers, remember that parenting, nobody said parenting was easy, but when you have a purpose, when you have a goal, then everything that you decide to do, whatever parenting style or strategy you use, should serve that purpose. In the end, our children will will carry on our legacy. They will teach their own children the same way that you taught them. So can you imagine we will have a country full of achievers, not just regular achievers, but high achievers, because there were people like Tini who dared to raise her children in a different way. And we are so blessed that you are here sharing your formula. Just 5 tips. We're going to flash on screen her 5 tips to raising highly achieved, well balanced, but high achievers. Our children, those are our treasures. So allow them to achieve their full potential by doing parenting which is more suitable to their needs. I think children are unaware of what they need. It is
Yeah.
the duty of the parents to ensure that those needs are met at an early age. I'm sorry, I just realized how important kumon is.
Oh,
I
yeah.
always see kumon everywhere, and I always thought, oh, that is for families who are rich or who have extra money to
Mm.
spend. But after hearing your experience, I would like our viewers to really invest in it, especially if you know that your children are lacking in some basic competencies like math or English. You factor in kumon as an unnecessary or as an essential expense, because in the end your children will thank you for it. I remember I struggled with math growing up, and my mom got a tutor for me, and then it was a different feeling having somebody with me every day for an hour just explaining math to me in elementary. And after that, math wasn't as difficult as I thought. So kumon is oh it's a it's an essential investment.
Yeah.
Shameless plug on kumon.
I'm a
I
strong believer. I'm a strong believer in common.
yeah,
Yes.
so it is simply because our resource speaker tried it, and it did wonders to her children. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Tini, for spending this time with us. I'm so glad that you were able to share these important parenting tips. Medyo radical, but remember, if you want children who excel, you have to be radical. You have to be different from their other parents. And this 5 tips, just try it and then see the difference. Thank you very much,
Thank you too,
Tini.
Sylvia. Thank you
I
so much.
I hope we can invite you to talk about other equally important or interesting topics in the future.
Sure.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we are thank you for joining us. In our next episode, we are going to talk about how effective leaders inspire, support, and volunteer organizations. Our resource speaker there is Dilip Abaya Sakar. So, always remember, learning is a never ending journey with limitless visas. Thank you very much and good day.